Big spoilers for Elbaf, but in chapter 1158, we see a 2-year-old Marshall D. Teach at the time of the big hunting game on God Valley in the West Blue. From this, now we know, based on what Rox D. Zebek says, is that Marshall D. Teach was born in the West Blue on God Valley, meaning his birthplace is the same as Shamrock and Shanks. Why this is so interesting is because when you compare this information to the depiction of Marshall D. Teach as a child, it creates a very interesting picture, because when he is depicted as a child, he is shown sitting alone under the light of a crescent moon. Now, in the hunting game of God Valley, we do know that Figlin Garland was the one who won the hunting game, and from that became the supreme commander of the Holy Knights. Now, the reason why this is so interesting is because Figlin Garland, even from when he's a young man, is depicted as a weird yellow moon because, of course, he's blonde. So when he's a young man, he looks like the waxing gibbous state of the moon. But then in the present story, he looks like a crescent moon, and we find out in the SBS, when his hair and beard grow together, he resembles a full moon. And from the front, he oddly looks like a star. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But I wonder if Marshall D. Teach has some sort of specific fear of Figlin Garling, which is why when he looks at the moon, perhaps he thinks of Figlin Garling. Perhaps Figlin Garling was the one who killed his mother. So he always has a chip on his shoulder when he looks at the full moon, because it reminds him of the man who killed his mother. I think that's very possible because, as we've seen before, when the warlords are depicted as children in various scenarios, usually lead to something when their actual story is unveiled. So, like, say, Doflamingo chilling out in the slums on a dirty couch makes a lot of sense because he spent a significant portion of his childhood in the streets after becoming a disgraced celestial dragon. So, yes, he was raised in the streets and worked his way up. Same thing with Kuma, whom appears in this event of the hunting game. We see him carrying sticks on his back. Well, he did that as a job when he was a child. So the depiction of him as a child there worked out in his backstory later on. So I say have to say, the depiction of a young Marshall D. Teach sitting alone at night while a crescent moon looms in the night sky is probably going to be a consistent theme in his backstory. And in a way, we already have a connection to a person in his life and a depiction of a crescent moon, because Whitebeard, also known as Edward Newgate, former Rox pirate, but then captain of the former Whitebeard pirates, does have a mustache that resembles a crescent moon. So in a way, maybe his life, or perhaps big sections of his life, have been marked by people who bear the resemblance of the moon. Because Garling could be one, and Whitebeard is definitely one. But with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What?